Hello, everyone. Welcome into a few more minutes with the one and only Wade Phillips. And Wade, we were just talking about your podcast with your son, Wes, and your daughter, Tracy, called Overtime. In that podcast, there's an episode called Bumisms. But for everybody listening and tonight, can you tell us what's your favorite bumism of all time?
Well, there's quite a few of them. In fact, I think we had a couple of I guess you call them sections on the podcast about things he had said or done. My favorite really is we had Earl Campbell, and Earl Campbell, they wanted him to run the mile in the preseason to see if everybody's in shape, and so they decided to run the mile. Well, he had 36-inch thighs, so he really wasn't a miler, and he fell out, about half a mile. He fell out, tightened up, and cramped up, and the reporters all came to my dad and said, Bum, what are you going to do? Earl couldn't make the mile. He said, well, hell, if it's third and a mile, we won't give it to him. But we're going to give it to him the rest of the time, which we did. So.
And that is a good philosophy. You can, of course, find that wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And Wade, a guy that you didn't necessarily coach directly, but was on that Super Bowl 50 team with Demaryius Thomas, announced his retirement today. Do you have any memories of practicing with Demaryius, of what he was like in the locker room?
Yeah, he was a really good leader besides being a great player. I thought he showed a lot of leadership qualities. He and Sanders both. I mean, you had two receivers that were really top-notch people. And he was competitive in practice all the time too, which helped us. So, no, he was a really great player and contributed a lot to that team for sure.
Speaking of players, this is one of our fans wrote this in, but I don't know if you can narrow it down, but do you have a favorite player that you've coached? Favorite of all?
I've coached so many Hall of Famers too. I mean, I'm going Steve Atwater's induction this year, and Peyton. I'm going to that. So, some of them, obviously, some of them are Broncos. I mean, Carl Mecklenburg was really a great guy to coach, and Dennis Smith and those guys when the first time I was in Denver, and then DeMarcus Ware and Vaughn and those guys. Akeem was probably one of my favorites of all time, and I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame too. I mean, he would intercept it and run for a touchdown every time, which was great. So I don't know. And then some of the guys are they're not the well-known people, but we had a guy named Shiloh Ko, who I coached a couple of times, and actually he recovered the onside kick at the end of the New England Patriot game that put the game away. I mean, so it's not just the all-star players, but just people you meet, and I've enjoyed coaching. So many good people, and that's why you love coaching, is because there's so many good guys in it, because they learn to work hard and work together and play for a team, and that's a fun way to coach.
Well, and I'm pretty sure every player that's had the privilege to be coached by you has absolutely loved it. And Wade, something that has always been said about you is you've got this ability to walk into a locker room, connect with any group of players, no matter their age, their generation, their walk of life. How are you so good at just connecting with players after nearly 5 decades of coaching, no matter what their story is?
Well, I started at the bottom, so I'm here right now. So I don't know. I mean, I just try to be myself, and they know that I'm trying to do my best for them, I think, and they can trust me because I'm gonna have their back. Those kind of things I think that doesn't change. About players and people. So society's changed a lot, music's changed a lot, but the kind of people they are hadn't changed, and that's what's great.
This is a simple but also complex question, but at its core, what makes a good defense in today's NFL?
Well, I think the chemistry part of it is a big thing. You obviously have to have talent, but most every team has talent, but it's putting it all together. It takes player leadership. And, I think it's some of the scheme is important. I always thought we tried to put them in the best position to make plays, and that's a key thing. But it's really the players and how they mesh together and how they feel about each other, and then what kind of pride they have in themselves. The secondary was so great. When I was there, they were the no-fly zone. But they named themselves because they knew they were good. I started with that team. We had goals when we started the season. We wanted to be in the top 10 and everything. We got about 4 weeks into the season, and we changed all our goals. So we want to be in the top number 1 in the league and all these things, because I could tell they were so competitive and they were going to do so well that you had to change your goals. So that told you a lot about them.
The last one we got for you, Wade. This is kind of a position you've been in. Vic Fangio has been an incredible defensive coordinator for many years. Now, learning the ropes of the head coach is very, very, very different. For you, you often said, you're a much better coordinator than a head coach. What are the biggest challenges of moving from a coordinator to a head coach?
It's just taking over the whole team instead of just part of the team, and there's a lot more headaches. There's a lot more behind the scenes things that the other coaches don't know about that come up. And then there's, you're part of the money decision, who gets money, who doesn't, those kind of things. And, as assistant coach, you don't really have to worry about that. Whoever's out there, you coach them, and if they pay them, they play, and if they go somewhere else, they go somewhere else. But as a head coach, you got to try to help put a team together. Not only John Elway, but the head coach and now whoever the general manager is and the head coach have to work together on that. And that's a big process, So I think it's hard, a lot harder that way. Just give me a player, let me coach him, and give me a defense, let me coach him, and that's not a whole lot else to worry about. But head coach has got a few more headaches.
Well, that is great. Well, that is all we have for you tonight. Wade, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for being such a great guest, and thank you for everything you've done for the city of Denver. This has been such a pleasure, and we hope to see you soon.
That'd be great, yeah. I'm going to come back here sometime. Hopefully we'll get a reunion, and all those guys will come back.
We'll do it.
That was fun when we went on the parade through the town. That was fun.
Well, Broncos fans, I know that excites Broncos fans, and thank you so much. That's it for us today from CBSN and CBSDenver.com. We'll see you guys next time.